Enterprise Lockdown 2026. Everything to know about security, everything from endpoints to the cloud. Today I'm going to be talking about Salt Typhoon and using advanced methodologies to detect cyber threats. Welcome. For those of you new to TierPoint, we're proud to be one of the nation's leading hybrid IT providers with more than 40 data centers, 800 plus IT professionals, and thousands of customers. Our approach is built on three pillars: security first, customer satisfaction, and cloud neutrality. I'm Paul Mazzucco, Chief Information Security Officer, and I've spent my career in cybersecurity working with government agencies and private industry to build defenses and respond to threats. At TierPoint, my mission is simple: to ensure security is always at the heart of everything we deliver. That focus has never been more critical. The FBI and allied intelligence agencies recently declared a cyber campaign known as Salt Typhoon a national defense crisis. A stark reminder of how sophisticated, organized, and relentless today's adversaries have become. And it's against this backdrop that we'll explore how the cyber landscape is evolving and how TierPoint is using advanced artificial intelligence and machine learning to fight back. From advanced threat protection and detection to real-time response, bringing those same innovations directly to our customers that we have been protecting TierPoint with for many years. So Salt Typhoon. This group has been active since approximately 2020 and focuses on cyber espionage, counterintelligence, and exfiltration of sensitive data, particularly targeting telecommunications infrastructures and US government and corporate networks. This is where TierPoint comes in as part of the telecom infrastructure providers. Put simply, this campaign wasn't a small espionage toolset. It targeted hundreds of systems across dozens of countries, touched major US carriers, and compromised high-value individuals. That means the potential for privacy violations, long-term surveillance, and strategic intelligence loss is real, and it demands a broad, coordinated defensive response. Let's start with the scope of the campaign. Salt Typhoon infiltrated over 200 targets across 80 countries, targeted not only telecom providers, but also government agencies, military networks, hotels, and corporate networks. In the United States, compromised infrastructure reportedly included major carriers Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Spectrum, Lumen, Consolidated Communications, Windstream, and Viasat. High-value individuals were also targeted, including campaign staff and prominent political figures. Now let's talk about the timeline, which shows escalation and the widening impact. In 2024, the initial breach of US telecom systems happened. Attackers gained footholds in core routers and ISP management planes, allowing access to sensitive metadata and, in some cases, audio recordings. In 2025, the campaign expanded, affecting National Guard networks, national telecom, and international organizations. Then in August 2025, the FBI and allied agencies publicly characterized the campaign as a national defense crisis. The key lesson here is that these operations evolved over years, not days. Early compromise can be invisible and then be pivoted into strategic collection capable of major impact. Here are the high-level TTPs observed. I'll keep this conceptual, enough to inform detection and response without repeating any of the operational details. So initial access. Exploited known vulnerabilities in edge and routing equipment and remote access infrastructure. Put simply, lack of patching, lack of maintenance allowed initial access in most cases. Persistence. Maintained long-term access via modifications to device configurations and by enabling remote services in ways that blended them with normal admin activity. The blending of these remote access services really helped solidify that this was a stealth and covert operation that was very difficult to detect. Then came the lateral movement. Use multi-hop pivoting and tunneled approaches to move between network segments and to hide their origin points. Collection. They mirrored traffic and harvested administrator credentials and management plane artifacts. Finally, exfiltration. Encrypted and tunneled data so it blended with regular traffic patterns, and the tools the campaign included bespoke kernel-level components alongside off-the-shelf pivoting tools. So what were they after? Counterintelligence and strategic surveillance. Theft of intellectual property and sensitive government data, enabling long-term covert visibility into global communications. So based on the scope and documented attack vectors, here are prioritized actions defenders should consider. These are very high level and suitable for immediate operational adoption. Some of these are table stakes, but let's go over them for a moment. So a hardened management plane. Enforce strong segmentation between management and production networks. Limit management access to bastion hosts and secure jump servers. Please, please, please make it a priority that the systems and networks you use to management infrastructure is much different, surgically separated from your production level networks. Elevate monitoring of network management activity. So baseline your legitimate admin behavior for routers, firewalls, and alert on deviations. Monitor configuration changes, any configuration changes, ACL edits, and any enabling of remote services. Turning on and turning off services within an infrastructure is key to lateral movement. Make sure you're looking for these changes in real time. Credential and access control hygiene. So immediate rotation and multi-factor enforcement for high privilege accounts, and implement just-in-time and least privilege access models for device management. Network detection for tunneling and covert channels. I genuinely believe that network defense is as important as endpoint defense when it comes to protecting an infrastructure. So look for anomalous encapsulation, multi-hop flows, and encrypted streams that don't match your business patterns. Retrospective hunts and log retention. So extend your log retention for management plane telemetry and perform retroactive forensic hunts. We recommend a minimum of a 90-day regression test. If an attack happens, if 3 attacks happen in 1 minute, all the red flags go off, all the red lights come on, everybody knows something's happening. But even the best SOC analyst is going to have a hard time remembering, did I see this attack 60 days ago? Is it something similar to what I saw 90 days ago? Use your automation and your orchestration in order to let these systems use algorithms to detect and look back at these attack vectors. And cross-sector collaboration. So share indicators in coordination with your carriers, with federal partners, and international counterparts if you have them. Incident containment and communications is also important. If there's a breach, prepare your legal team, your executive playbooks for large-scale carrier compromises, because this isn't just a technical attack and it's not just a technical issue. You have liability out there if something happens, and make sure that you have a run book that includes all the layers you need to get in front of something. And we have a pretty strong mandate, just be honest. If you're compromised, if something happens and you try and cover it up, your damage in the marketplace is going to be much worse than if you admit there was a compromise and showcase a logical path to get things fixed. So let's talk about what we use here at TierPoint. And we use a platform that we call Adapt. So Adapt is a fully managed security platform that provides 24/7, 365 monitoring and response, artificial intelligence, machine learning based threat detection, proactive threat hunting, alert triage and contextualization, and automated containment capabilities. That's a lot to ingest real quick. But Adapt ingests telemetry from your endpoints, cloud, network, M365, and email, giving a single unified view of your security posture. We manage and integrate multiple security functions through Adapt, including MDR, antivirus, anti-malware, endpoint protection, next-gen firewalls, and zero trust multi-factor authentication. So threats are, to the best of our ability, detected and addressed quickly, and your defenses are continuously improved. By that I mean TierPoint is the very first client on the Adapt platform. We've been using it for years, and we've been enhancing and enriching it for years. This is a never-ending development cycle. So by virtue of the fact that TierPoint uses this platform internally, our clients who subscribe to this platform get the advantages of continual improvements, continual protections, and continual innovation in the same systems that TierPoint is using for protecting its. So the Adapt Managed Detection and Response is a fully managed service as well, operated by our SOC team. We never just let algorithms make final decisions. It runs 24/7, 365 to monitor and triage alerts, ingesting and correlating data across your entire IT ecosystem. The platform applies AI and machine learning for faster, more accurate threat detection and prioritization. We automate response actions through integrated SOAR workflows while the SOC team delivers real-time dashboards and reporting in a single portal. The service continually improves through a combination of human tuning and proprietary threat intelligence. We correlate 11 or 12 different threat feeds as well as our own threat feeds with our threat hunters and apply that correlated threat feed across the entire ecosystem. The SOC analysts are able to provide hands-on remediation and recovery, moving from detection to response to restoration, so threats are contained quickly and operations are brought back online. And I'll give you more of an example of this in a moment. So the MDR platform, it has all the layers you would consider as table stakes for an MDR platform, but it's more than that. It has threat detection and prevention, of course, identity and access security, network endpoint security. And as I touched on, I think network detection and response is as important, if not more important, than endpoint detection and response. My goal is to identify and keep those threats as far out to the edge as possible. When we looked at the incumbent systems in the marketplace before we decided to build this, we didn't think that the incumbent systems, many of which are fantastic name brands, they didn't have a model that was purpose-built for the MSP space. By virtue of TierPoint building our own, and by virtue of our large ecosystem, think about we control our edge. We control our edge 100% from our DDoS infrastructure, from our layer 7 WAF protection, from our advanced firewalls, all the way down to our core, where we have another continual layer of protection with layer 7 protections and our firewalls, IDS, IPS, etc., all the way down to where we hand off to our customers and even into our customer environments. We have an incident response and analysis infrastructure within TierPoint, digital forensic, geotagging. We get involved with any customer breaches that happen, and we are their front line of defense while we work to spin up all the other infrastructures that are needed to get our clients back online quickly. And our integrations, we integrate into any of the cloud providers as well as any of the systems that our customers bring to us. And by that I mean we built this on day one to be agnostic. If you love one of the other systems out there in the marketplace, that's great. If it has an API, we will ingest it, we will normalize it, we will bring it into a common schema, and we will blend it with our threat intelligence, and your dashboard will be a combination of our threat detection, our incident response protection, as well as that of the incumbent systems that you liked, and we're going to give you a correlated single pane of glass, single view, so that we're not asking you to get rid of your trusted partners. We're saying we provide you as an MSP an infrastructure and an overview of these systems in a holistic environment. Let's talk about the environment. So web filtering. Again, TierPoint owns its infrastructure, so we can control and look for web anomalies at our edge. That edge extends to 40 plus data centers across the United States. So if we're seeing web anomalies in Seattle, Washington, we can instantly correlate in Chicago, in Dallas, in Jacksonville, in New York, and write protections to our edge infrastructure that's going to protect 3,000 plus clients, as well as TierPoint's ecosystem and infrastructure based on anomalies we see coming in just one area. So we don't have to wait for data sharing. We don't have to wait for a compiled report to review once a week or once a month. These are real-time protections pushed out to our edge autonomously and automatically when we look at an and the endpoint host intrusion. So of course we can't ignore the endpoints, and we have the defend enterprise on the endpoints themselves. But by putting the agents on these endpoints and bringing that into our edge and our network detection, we're better able to isolate systems that are showing an indicator of compromise. And we're also better able to make sure that when we see an anomaly, again, in one region, in one system for one client, we can look at the protections and the hashes created for that one client and push those protections out to all the other clients as well as our infrastructure real time. Machine learning and detection. So I don't use artificial intelligence lightly. Adapt is basically 60 different custom machine learning jobs performing time series analysis, different data points, including data exfiltration, lateral movement, authentication, network behavioral anomalies, user behavior, etc. But what we've done is we've collated again anonymized client attack data, TierPoint attack data, as well as our commercial and government related threat feeds, and we blend them to looking at anomalies across an ecosystem. So what you're looking at here is different anomalies based on different infrastructures in different zones, and it correlates them and gives us that single pane of glass and somewhat of a stoplight, red, yellow, green, in this case, blue, yellow, red, so that we can see how severe it is and how quickly we need to act upon. Second to that, we have AI and large language model integration. TierPoint hosts and curates its own large language models. By this, I mean our data and client data is never sent to a public large language model for ingestion and normalization. We literally host it ourselves. We enrich it through a RAG process so that we can go out and gather and compare to what the local language models are showcasing, but that data always stays encapsulated within TierPoint's four walls. Incident response and automation. Another thing that we insisted on day one is that we are capturing all of the incident response and automation processes natively day over day. Why would we charge extra if there's an incident response to engage the incident response infrastructure logging? Why would we showcase that as another add-on or another contract when we have that data anyway? So on behalf of our clients, we make available any level of incident response that we have in our possession. We can showcase any processes that were spun up, terminated, where they were in the attack chain. We're looking for malicious behavior. We're looking for credential theft. And with orchestration, we can autonomously kill a process, isolate an infected system, and or isolate an entire network if necessary. That incident response and automation also ties into advanced analytics. So we're not just seeing a pretty graphic that shows where the attack happened and what's going on with an individual system. We can actually go down and see, if this is a Linux server, exactly what commands were run, what processes were started. We can dig deep into the woods and make that available instantly to our customers. We can also automatically isolate and orchestrate who is patient zero. So if you're looking at here, we can showcase where did this come from and what systems is that patient looking at within a network map. We can then choose, depending on what the clients want us to do, to isolate patient zero, and we can isolate the network connections and take offline the systems that are susceptible to this same attack in an effort to not allow the malicious threat actor to gain access to multiple systems when we detect them in a single one. We have full-time threat hunters and intelligence gathering. As I stated, we have paid threat feeds. We have commercial threat feeds outside of our paid infrastructure. We're lucky enough to work with agencies that we share threat analysis with, and we curate our own threat detection based on TierPoint's large ecosystem. Our threat intel program is looking at millions and millions and millions of events, and it goes and marries to billions of logging events in order to give us the best chance to enrich this data and to look at a holistic view of where those threats are coming. That threat intel program also feeds to a honeypot system, and this brings me back to Salt Typhoon. We chose to look at the malicious IPs, the command and control traffic, and once identified, autonomously send all that command and control traffic across our client networks into our honeypots. It allowed us to keep the lights on, keep the heartbeat on, and at the same time, not allow malicious scripts to go back into the systems that were compromised. This gave us a fighting chance to identify where the attacks were coming from, where were they trying to go, what sort of attack methodology was used, and how can we best offer a counter defense through this system. It paid dividends. We went from about a 40% detection rate to over 95% detection rate in less than 1 week. And the honeypot network is really pretty simple. It's not pretty, but here's an outline of what we did, how we set it up, and we are more than happy to talk about helping you create your own honeypot network because we think there's so much value in having this catch-all in order to protect your infrastructure. So thank you. Once again, my name is Paul Mazzucco. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer of TierPoint. And if you'd like to speak with anyone about your security needs, you can certainly reach us at tierpoint.com, email sales@tierpoint.com, or pick up the phone and give us a call. I appreciate your time and I thank you for spending your valuable time with me.